Hi guys, is this alright? And you're welcome back to my Anxious Speaks podcast. Once again, it's a pleasure and a privilege sharing my stories with you and having you guys listen to this. If you are new to this channel, make sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you are using to listen to this. Sit back and relax as we take a hike today. So you know how when we were younger, we always perceived our parents as superheroes. I mean, most of us. Some of us, felt our parents were invincible. And I think it's still seen as a childlike thing to brag about what your parents can do. I mean, deciding whether it's actually childlike or not is a story for another day. But I remember one time my cousin's young daughter, I think she was 2 or 3, and she was telling me about how her father can kill okuko. Now, in Igbo, okuko is chicken. So she was bragging to me about how her father could kill a chicken. In a lighter sense, right, she felt like that was her father's superpower, it was a big deal. To me, it's a big deal because I don't like chickens at all. I prefer them dead and on my plate. But you see those things running around? No. If it's alive, please keep it away from me. But I did believe my parents had superpowers. And I mean, as I'm older, I think it may be a far stretch to call them superpowers, but I did know that they were doing something or things that I felt no one else could do. I've always believed that my dad was a master storyteller. He has a book that he authored, and the book is quite amazing. I don't even remember how storytelling became a norm. All I know is I couldn't go to bed without hearing his stories. That was how they used to convince me to take a bath, because my dad didn't let me. I couldn't come near their bed unless I had had a bath. Obviously, I mean, I was a kid. I was playing all day. I probably sweaty and covered in sand. So I would go and hurry to take a bath and then rush back so my dad could tell me a story before bed. And yes, I am a Nigerian. So I'm sure in your head, this one is foreign. But that was my dad's thing for me. He would always tell me stories. Though it's a bit cliche, but yes, he did tell me princess stories and all. But that's not even where my mind is going. He told me stories about the tortoise and the animal kingdom. And those were back-breaking stories for me. I was always curious about what the tortoise was going to do next. I was never really bothered about how, maybe in the previous story, the tortoise broke his shell. His shell will come back together or something. I found it crazy how every single night my dad told a different story. I don't think, maybe my memory is a bit fogged, but I doubt it. My dad never really told a story twice. The tortoise and the hare story, it was my dad that told me. I never really read it in a book. It was a book, but my dad told me the story. And, tortoise and the animal kingdom. I was a very, very good listener. Today's story would be different from the next. If I ever went to bed without hearing a story from my dad, I would be very disappointed. My dreams would be boring. I could never get tired of hearing him tell me some weird tales by the moonlight. And, I would fall asleep listening to these stories and allow the stories shape my dream. I'm very grateful for that because it gave me an amazing and vivid imagination. Every single story he told me had a moral lesson. And that helped me see a moral in almost, everything I did. And when I say everything, I mean everything. The stories helped me see the world in a new light, from a new lens. And I unconsciously formed principles by my understanding of these stories. So it wasn't even him. I don't think he was even doing it consciously. To him, he was probably just telling me the story so that I would go to bed. I'm a child. And, he can't go to bed until I go to bed. So, he was probably just telling me the story to fulfill, let her go and sleep. So I don't think maybe he was putting a lot of effort into giving me moral lessons. And it wasn't at the end of the story, he said, so this is the lesson from that story. No. I drew the lessons myself. Why I shouldn't steal, why greed is bad, why sharing is good, why we should be kind to others, etc. and etc. I learned to draw conclusions and connect the dots. Right now, I think quantitative reasoning and critical thinking naturally are my strong suit. And I feel like it was built just by listening to my dad's stories every night. Coming forward to present day, I think one largely underestimated ability we have as human beings is our ability to learn. That we have the ability to learn from anything and everything. We learn more when we see examples. I have been around children and I have seen them imitate with utmost accuracy, like hearing them learn to talk just by hearing people around them talk, the words they say, the things they do. We overestimate formal education. People dedicate their lives to going to school. A child who hasn't even gone to school has learned to speak just by being around people who talk. If we knew how much what we have around us and the things we unconsciously listen to and the situations we see, if we knew the effect they had on us, I think it's something deeper than we are willing to recognize and admit to ourselves. I feel if we knew this, we would do our best to control what surrounds us. And I'm not even talking environment. Your environment includes the people you are around, the conversations you are around, the news that you see, the media, pictures, videos, music, tweets you see, whatever your senses can take in. Like, you have no idea how much you are unconsciously replicating what you see. And I think media houses have learned this faster than we, the receivers of this media, have. They have constantly built a system of desensitization. That is, if you see something long enough, you begin to take it as normal or true. You don't really care what boundaries it's breaking, but you will see it as a normal thing. From when I was younger up until now, I think that learning or deriving moral lessons from my dad's stories have helped me till date. I mean, I watch a movie, I draw a summary, I encounter a situation, and I draw a conclusion on why what happened. They call it the root cause analysis. I'm not exactly giving a summarized overview. I mean, back in secondary school, we were given comprehension passages, and you were meant to probably just give a summary of what was in the passage. But like one thing that I do when I give my mentees books and how I teach them to read is I don't want you to tell me what is inside the book. Because I feel that's a very simple thing to do. I want to know how it has affected you. It's a lot more personal. How do you see it? How has it altered your view on this particular subject? How has it given you a different perspective? Has it, how do you apply it? I mean, merging the information you already know with the new information you are gathering. Not all movies are realistic though. Batman, flying people, spaceships are realistic. But I mean, these movies might not portray real life things, but they stir up real life emotions. Because why are you watching a movie and crying? Why are you watching a movie and feeling upset at the character? It has generated an emotion within you. That was one of the first things that I learned when learning emotional intelligence. Being able to accept your emotions and draw conclusions from them. Like, oh, I'm upset right now. Why am I upset? I'm sad. I feel sad. Why does watching this make me feel sad? Why? There's all fun and games in it. Though the background and the storyline may be a figment of someone's imagination, your emotions are not a figment of your imaginations. So how can you channel your emotions into a thinking pattern? Imagine choosing to care because you heard a story that the tortoise didn't care and then he broke his shell. Imagine turning a weird and unrelated situation, an abstract idea, into a life-defining moment, a principle that you are guided by. I think that's what it meant for me as a child believing. Till next time.